Welcome, everyone, to the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe. It's Monday, March the 2nd, and this is our council meeting for tonight. Everyone is here and accounted for. Councillor Brody is attending virtually for health reasons. He doesn't want to share the unwealth with us, so that's good. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none then, are there any agenda additions at this time? Seeing none then, we have a recommendation that the agenda for March the 2nd, 2026 meeting of council be approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. You've had a chance to read the minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that the minutes of the Adelaide Metcalfe meeting of council held on February 17th, 2026 be adopted as printed. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor, and that's carried. You've got the consent agenda in front of you. Is there anything in there that you would like pulled out for discussion? Seeing none, then, we have a recommendation that items 6A through 6G listed under the heading of consent agenda for the March 2nd, 2026 meeting of council be adopted as recommended. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor, and that's carried. Next up on our agenda is the correspondence. We have a request to support a resolution from the OPP Detachment Board of James Bay East regarding provincial bail notification program. We have a request from the Township of Perry. A request to support a resolution from the Township of Perry regarding Canada Post Corporation Act regarding the reduced rate distribution of library resources. A request from the municipality of Magnottawan to support a resolution on the Bell Fiber resolution. A request from the Township of Papineau-Cameron to support a resolution on the Ontario Veterinary College expansion enrollment. Councillor Campbell, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I would. Looking at that resolution, I certainly think that the large animal vet shortage across rural Ontario is one that could be solved with a little more expansion and enrollment. So I'd look to support this resolution.
Okay, thank you. You'll move that then, Councillor Campbell? Yes, okay, moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor, and that's carried. We have a request from the Township of Southgate to support a resolution around the support for Bill 21, Protect Our Food Act 2025. Okay. We have a recommendation that council receive and file correspondence 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7E. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor, and that's carried. Next up on our agenda are the staff reports. And at this time, I'll turn the meeting over to our Chief Building Inspector, Arnie Marsman, to deliver the first quarter and year-end 2025 building activity summary. So Arnie, welcome. He's attending virtually for those that are wondering. And I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to you, Arnie.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Just a sound check. You can hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes, great. Yeah, I'm pleased to be here tonight to present to Council the fourth quarter report and the year end for 2025. Apologize for being a little tardy with getting to you in March for a year end report, but unfortunately some calendars didn't line up well for me this year. Anyways, the year end 2025 actually was a good year. We were ahead of last year's numbers. What we've seen last year, we've seen the number of dwelling units increase, the number of permits increase, and construction value slightly increased from where we were in 2024. In my staff report, there are three tables. First table is a summary showing the five municipalities that we do our building inspections in. So Adelaide Metcalfe, Lucan-Biddulph, Middlesex Centre, North Middlesex, and Southwest Middlesex. And all in all, we pretty much broke even to where we were in 2024. Some municipalities a bit higher than others. I'm happy to say that Adelaide Metcalfe did fairly well when a number of municipalities in the southwestern Ontario did some struggling again, similar to what they did in 2024 compared to 2023. But in total, we 800 permits across our service area, 805 permits, 197 new dwellings, and a construction value of 260 million. Those are generally consistent with what we saw in 2024. The second table is a bit more of a detailed breakdown of what we've seen in Adelaide Metcalfe. And the fourth quarter of 2025 compared to and the year end and compared to 2024 numbers. All in all, like I said, we're slightly ahead in dwelling units. Singles were about the same, 7 to 8. We had 4 townhouse dwellings. We called them townhouse dwellings. I think they were an on-farm dwelling that was provided with 4 units. But all in all, it was 87 permits compared to 68. So it was a decent year for sure for Adelaide Metcalfe. The big winners, in case you're interested, again, North Middlesex did really well, and the village of Ailsa Craig really carried the load for North Middlesex. But it was a very good year for North Middlesex. The third table is a summary of fees and construction values in Adelaide Metcalfe. Again, showing up in number of permits, up in construction value. Permit fees slightly decreased. It's hard to explain why we have more permits with a higher construction value, but we didn't collect as many permit fees. But sometimes that's just the way it comes out, depending on the size of some projects that we see in each year. The permit fees are higher for some categories than others. One item of information that might be interesting to council is that we've added the village of Newbury to our partnership. So we now provide building inspection services for 6 municipalities. So we brought Adelaide Metcalfe on, or sorry, Newbury on this year. In addition, Middlesex Centre also provided bylaw enforcement for Adelaide Metcalfe, and some of those files will carry into next year, but pleased to say we were able to resolve a small number. There was a small number of files to start with, but we were successful in a few of those in our relationships with lighting complaints and a couple property standards matters. So anyways, that's generally my summary of my report, and I'm happy to speak to any questions council may have.
Thank you, Arnie. Are there any questions for Arnie? I just have a comment, Arnie. I'm glad to see that you spoke to the bylaw enforcement, and for anybody that's watching, that is something that we'll continue to focus on in the coming months when the weather gets a little bit nicer, specifically the property standards around the village area. So thank you very much, Arnie.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, we have a recommendation that the fourth quarter of year-end 2025 building activity summary be received for information. Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor, and that's carried. Next up, I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our drainage superintendent, Rob Keetle, to discuss the winter drain.
Good evening, everyone. As we've had the winter drain going through the engineer's report process for some time, and we've been able to bring it to tender, and I feel like it was rather successfully. There was haste at the landowner's request. They were hoping to have it done quickly this year, as opposed to doing maintenance and paying for something twice. So we incentivized the tender to have an early construction date, and the contractors came back good, I would say. And there's a couple good numbers there, and I'll leave it up to you to pick which one you like, but there's definitely some choices. I'm happy with them. And I definitely recommend that you would pick the low bidder, Robinson Farm Drainage, but they had definitely coming under the estimate, and I'm pleased with that bid.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Robinsons have a long history in the area, so people are aware of their work. Are there any questions for Rob at this time? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from Robinson Farm Drainage in the amount of $127,136 plus HST for the construction of the winter drain. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor, and that's carried. Thanks, Rob. The next item up is 8C, the maintenance gravel tender, and I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our Public Works Manager, Coulter Cahill.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clark. This year's maintenance gravel tender closed on Wednesday, February 5th, or 25th, sorry. This year we received 8 bids, which is amazing. Usually we're right around 5 or 6, so it's nice to see lots of turnout there. This year, the successful bidder for the supply and application of our maintenance gravel was Mackenzie and Henderson, based on the lowest price per ton. This year, we priced out 12,000 ton of maintenance gravel, which is similar to the last 2 years. It's worked out really well. Based on the bids received, we are under the budget amount of $247,200 by $10,680 for 2026. Recommendations in the report. Brian, open up for any questions if there is any. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Coulter. Any questions on this tender? I always like to see them come in a little under budget. So, and that just speaks to passing a budget here sooner than later, so that you're ready in your position to be able to be first to the gate when it comes to getting tenders put out. So congratulations for doing that. We appreciate it. Any other comments? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from Mackenzie Henderson in the amount of $236,520 plus HST for the supply and application of maintenance gravel, and further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the corporation. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next item up is 8D, the 2020 to 2025 grant and donation funding summary, which is music to my ears. Anyway, I'll turn this portion over to our treasurer, Johnny Pereira.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through to council. So this report just provides a summary of the grants and donations that the township has received from the period of 2020 to the end of 2025. So during this period, the township did secure just over $378,000 in competitive application-based grants, which supported the fire department for fire equipment, supplies, significant improvements to Kerwood Park, pothole repairs, and other municipal initiatives. The township also received just over $85,000 in donations, and that's including corporate and community contributions secured through direct engagement to various community groups and corporations that work in the township, specifically wind farms and some pipelines as well. Between 2023 and 2025, staff reviewed or submitted 41 application-based grant opportunities. So approximately 190 hours of staff time were invested in those grants and reporting during that period. The township's financial analyst has taken the lead role in coordinating much of this work, strengthening our internal capacity to pursue these competitive grant opportunities. In addition, the township has received about $3.7 million in recurring formula-based funding through OMPF, OCIF, and the Canada Community Building Fund. While these allocations are formula-driven, they do require ongoing reporting and remain part of the township's infrastructure planning. I would kindly ask council to consider the recommendation outlined in the report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's great, Johnny. Any questions? Councillor King, go ahead.
Through the mayor to Johnny, and I have a question. I think it was late last year, we had anticipated applying for a Trillium grant to put in effect an AI implementation process. Can you tell us anything about that?
For sure. Through the mayor to Councillor Kingma. Yes, just a bit of an update there. We were declined on that. There was a number of applicants. Fortunately, we were not successful. It's still on the table. We're always looking for other opportunities to apply for these type of AI projects. We are currently looking at OTF currently right now for accessibility improvements to the township office. So even though we're unsuccessful with some of our grants, we do keep an eye out for other opportunities to continue to further those items.
Yeah, I'm sure the staff's sick of me sending them. Did you see this one? Grant, but I encourage council to do the same, and there's no risk in duplicating because sometimes you might, somebody might miss one. And some of them, we never thought the pothole thing would be a thing, but if the money's on the table, we don't want to leave money on the table if we can possibly get it. So, Councillor Kingma.
Thank you. A follow-up. So through the mayor to Johnny, does the township have occasion then to be debriefed on the merits and drawbacks of their submission?
The mayor to Councillor Kingma. We do typically try to reach out to improve our report writing and understand how we could have improved on that application. So that is something we do and take notes for future applications.
And if I might add, early December, I attended a provincial funding forum, and our financial analyst, I took her along with me to make those introductions so that when we are putting applications forward, it's a lot easier to pick up the phone before you start filling in the application. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful every time, but you have to build those relationships to try to get to the front of the line. That's a nice way to say it, I guess. So. Okay, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, then we have a recommendation that council receive the 2020 to 2025 grant and donation funding summary report for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Campbell. Seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All in favor? And that's carried. Is there any other business? Councillor Kingma, go ahead.
Just a quick question to Coulter through the mayor. Is there any movement concerning the upgrade to the Kerwood Ballpark washrooms?
Thank you, Councillor Kingma. Actually, the contractor is planning on starting at the end of next week. So we do want to get that all completed for the ball tournament this year.
And I think the skating rink's closed now, or it's cold this week, but I think it's going to 18 degrees in a few days, so.
Yeah, I think it's actually still open right now, but in about one more day, I think it's gonna be the end of it, so unfortunately.
Well, I have to say, we got a good run on it this year. So, and once again, thanks to Basil and Jeanette Martin for letting people know on Facebook when it's open, when it's closed, and keeping an eye on things and doing the shoveling. We really appreciate it. Any other business? Councillor Kingma.
It's not 7:37. Quick question. I think maybe Morgan should answer this through the mayor. We were instructed to instruct you to send a letter to Brooke Alvinston. Can you update us on that?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Klingman, and through the mayor to you. I was actually just talking to Mike Barnier about sending that letter literally this morning. So it's on his list of things to do and we'll get it out the door.
Yeah, but through the mayor to Councillor King, we were discussing it. It's been on the list for a while, but I know in the discussion it was prior to summer. So it's just one of those things. I had talked briefly to their CAO as I was gathering other information, but we will send out a letter for more information in that regard. But thank you.
Okay, last call. Alrighty then. We have a recommendation that bylaw 57 of 2025, the winter drain 2025, received third and final reading. Moved by Counselor McKinnon, seconded by Counselor Kingma, all in favor, and that's carried. We have a recommendation that bylaw 58 of 2025, the Richardson Early Drain 2025, received third and final reading. Mover and a seconder, moved by Counselor Campbell, seconded by Counselor Brody, all in favor, and that's carried. And lastly, we have a recommendation that bylaw 9 of 2026, the agreement regarding maintenance gravel for Mackenzie Henderson, and bylaw 10 of 2026 confirming March 2nd, 2026 received first, second, and third and final reading. Mover and a seconder, moved by Counselor Campbell, seconded by Counselor Kingma, all in favor, and that's carried. And now could I have a motion to adjourn at 7:21 PM? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor McKinnon, all in favor, and that's carried. Thank you very much.